guys, and welcome to my video for day number 9 of Inktober. So, just kind of getting it out in the open, I think this is by far the weirdest thing that I've drawn this month. Possibly the weirdest thing that I've drawn ever. But when I picked the prompt at the end of the last video, and that prompt was looking into infinity, it definitely gave me some sci-fi vibes. I have always been a very big fan of sci-fi, and so I decided to go with it, despite the fact that it was very different from a lot of the other pieces I had done this month. And in order to achieve that, I tried to make my character appear very alien. In the end, I do think that I achieved that. However, even though it is very strange and sci-fi and very different from a lot of my other Inktober pieces, I did try to blend in a few of the themes or visual elements from other pieces I had created. The first and probably most obvious visual parallel is that of the crystals. And in this particular drawing, the crystals are growing out of the figure's body. But the other time that I drew crystals this month was actually on day 3. As a bit of a reminder, or a catch-up for those of you who might not have seen that video, I wasn't particularly thrilled with the way that piece had turned out, but I very much like the idea of crystals as a visual element, and so I think some part of me was hoping that I would like this piece, this application of crystals, more than I liked the way that I had drawn them there. And in the end, I ultimately think that I do. Additionally, the tattoo-like vine designs over the body of this figure are somewhat reminiscent of the shirt or top that the character was wearing in day 1. I did do that on purpose, but I also knew that I didn't want this character to have completely human anatomy, and so I didn't add in a lot of the things that a human would have, and the body just looked very blank and bare. So I was looking for something that could kind of fill in space, and that was what I ultimately came up with. Also, the reason I say tattoo-like instead of actual tattoos is that while I was drawing this, I kind of imagined that these were actually part of this character's body and not something that was put onto it after the fact. And that was just my brain kind of doing some world building for me as I went along. Kind of using that to propel us into the alien aspect of this character. In order to create that look, I definitely stretched some proportions and just generally exaggerated things. I think the most obvious of these is the use of fully black eyes. It is, at least for me, the first thing that makes us think that this character might not be fully human. And overall, I think they are a very pleasing and interesting part of the piece. Now, overall, I did find this piece very enjoyable to draw. And I think a big part of that is because it was so different. I don't often indulge the sci-fi part of my nature or my interests. I think solely because I don't always think to. However, this piece was very much in line with my interests, despite the fact that it is very different. And ultimately, moving forward, I do think I would like to do more sci-fi based work. Especially after Inktober is over. It's fun experimenting with black and white, but I think I could do some interesting things with color if I had the opportunity to do so. Now, as far as my actual goals for this month or week 2 are concerned, this character is definitely more male in appearance than they are female, so I definitely got some good practice in that regard. And the pose is fairly simple in nature, but that was on purpose. I tried to thumbnail a few different poses, a few different versions of this piece, but none of them really worked in the way that this one did, so I decided to go with it. and experiment more with poses in the future. One last little note before I transition us into picking the prompt for the next video is that even though I started this month on a day's delay, I am actually going to push the video schedule one day in the future. So this video for day number 9 should be coming out on the 11th. And that is primarily because I didn't plan properly or figure out the best type of schedule for my actual Inktober project. And I've been talking about how I want to try to make this schedule run more smoothly. And I think if my plans are successful, this should actually work and take a lot of pressure off of me. And it should also make it so I can work on my pieces earlier in the day instead of later in the evening, which I think is leading me to create pieces that are not as good as they could be because I'm so tired. So thank you for bearing with me on that. I know the actual upload schedule has been a little bit sporadic. I have kind of adjusted my perspective into saying that I am going to make 31 videos, one for each day of Inktober, instead of daily videos. I hope after this upload schedule change it will be daily, but I think for the general good of my mental health, using the phrase 31 videos is going to be better in the long run. And I hope that is okay with all of you guys as well. So without drawing this on any longer, I hope you enjoyed this time-lapse portion of the video. And I'm going to transition us into the next part where I'm picking the prompt for the next video. So here is my finished illustration for day 9 of Inktober. As you can see, it is very strange, but it is also pretty in line with a couple of other pieces I have done. And ultimately, I had a lot of fun putting it together, and I really think it turned out interesting. So I'm going to move this to the side, and we will pick the prompt for the next video. Here is our prompt hat, and I will go ahead and pick the prompt. And let's do this one. And the prompt is royalty. Interesting. I like this a lot. I think this will be fun, and we'll see what I can do. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the process. You can subscribe to see more of my Inktober videos in the future, as well as any other illustration or mixed media videos I may put up. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.